Hey Jason.
Hi, how's it going?
Yep, good. So let me quickly share just my screen just to see if you are able to see my screen. And then once Ananya is here, she can share. So you can see my screen, yeah?
Yep,
Okay, that's all good. So let me.
she'll have the deck. All right, we'll just give people 2 more minutes before we begin. Okay, this session's being recorded, so if people come in late and they miss anything, they can just jump in. So thanks everybody for joining us today. We appreciate it. So today we're going to be presenting Black Diamond Advisory's Accordion Rolling Forecast. I'm Jason Kapouch, the Managing Director of APAC down here, and with me I have Ananya Dev, who's one of our leading planning architects. So this is the agenda. I know we have 30 minutes allotted for this. So, go into key differentiators on Black Diamond, and then we'll get into Accordion Rolling Forecast, a live demo by Ananya, and then we'll leave a bit of time at the end for Q&A. And we will be sending out these slides at the conclusion of the presentation, so no need to take notes or anything like that. We can send you the slides. So this is our global slide here, just a little bit about us. So we in the APAC region have people in Sydney, Melbourne, and Perth. The company was founded in the US back in 2019. So we have a huge presence in the US, Canada, Europe, and we also have resources in South Africa and India. What makes us different is we are a OneStream only boutique consulting company. We're the largest of its type in the world. So we have 80 lead architects. Several of us are OneStream certified lead architects, including myself and Ananya. We've done over 150 OneStream projects. We do specialize in complex FP&A solutions, but we also do a lot of global consolidation projects, account recs, transaction matching, dashboards, reporting, you name it, as long as it's OneStream, we are on top of that. We also offer advisory services. That's where the advisory comes into play in our company name. And there are 4 levels of partners at OneStream. There is silver, gold, platinum, and diamond. We are 5x diamond, so we are heavily experienced, and I believe we are the most experienced partner in the world at doing OneStream projects. We call this our NASCAR slide. So these are a representation of some of the clients we've done, specific ones that may pop for you in the APAC region. If you go to Woolies or Kohl's, McCain Foods, you see them a lot in the frozen food section. Subaru is pretty big. Everybody knows that one. RBI, Restaurant Brands International. We have Hungry Jack's down here in Australia, but over in North America and globally, RBI owns Burger King's, Tim Hortons, which are a big deal in Canada, Popeye's Chickens, and I think they own a sub-franchise, so huge company. Landsec is one of the largest commercial property developers in the UK, Iron Mountain. Some of these names you're probably familiar with, or you've seen their trucks driving around Australia. So we'll go into a few more key differentiators here. Do you want to jump ahead there, Ananya? Yeah. So I'm just going to go over a couple here real quick. Like I said, our people are what makes Black Diamond Advisory. Most of us have worked in this space quite a few years. I think this is my 25th year doing this. I don't want to date myself, but I started out doing legacy platforms, as have a lot of people, so we're pretty familiar with the other players in the business. And the fact that we only do OneStream, we're all in and completely aligned with the vendor. The other thing is our solutions. So we will get into this a little bit with Ananya, but we have things on Partnerplace like our utility bundle and things like the Accordion Rolling Forecast, which you're about to see, capital planning, comp planning, those types of things get you speed to value. You're able to put something like that in. It's pretty advanced. It has all the bells and whistles, and it's cost effective. It allows you to show value on the platform in short order. Next slide. And here's our team here. So you can see myself, you can see Ananya. We have others spread out across Australia. All of us are highly experienced with OneStream, whether it be at Black Diamond or other firms. And we have the most dedicated OneStream consultants in the region of any partner. And with that, I will turn it over to Ananya.
Hi everyone, I'm Ananya Dove. As Jason mentioned, I'm a planning architect here at Black Diamond Advisory. So I'm going to go into a little bit more of BDA's Accordion Rolling Forecast solution. I'm going to first start off with our core technology offering. So the core technology offering is a part of our BDA utility bundle that you can find on the OneStream partner place if you are a OneStream customer already. So the core technology is the core utilities that BDA has rolled out to make the lives of developers, admins, just in general, all the consultants and clients, their OneStream usage easier in the system. The tools will help you with code optimization, backend management, metadata management, creating dashboards and reports on the fly, task editing, scenario management, etc. The Accordion Rolling Forecast actually utilizes a lot of our core technology utilities to put the forecast together, which I will go into when I do the demo. So BDA's Accordion Rolling Forecast basically takes the traditional forecasting approach and modernizes it. So a traditional forecast will have a current year forecast, then you'll spend a heavy amount of time just doing next year's budget, and then there'll be a separate process to do an LRP. The Accordion Rolling Forecast does all three in one go, in one view. So you'll combine the budget and forecast processes. You can also add in an LRP component if you want. It's driver-based, so you can use historical actuals and other drivers to trend out your growth. The budget and forecast are at the same level of detail. Often I found that sometimes forecast needs to be done at a higher level if you don't have the data to support it or vice versa. This allows your data visibility at the same level of detail and granularity. You can manage by exception. So if you have certain models or certain departments that need to forecast differently, we can accommodate that. And then the evolution of the forecast basically is taking it from the simple forecast, which I will highlight in the next slide, into accordion forecast, which lets you have visibility into the current year and next fiscal year. So as I mentioned, it's going from the traditional forecasting methodology of the simple current year forecast, which takes actuals year to date and then adds in your forecast month, going out to the end of the current fiscal or calendar year. A rolling forecast will typically take the next 12 months, so you get a rolling view of your forecast, but then you still have this white area where you're not really getting visibility into the data here. The accordion forecast, rolling forecast, will take you through the current year as well as the next year, so you have a full 2-year view at all times. This highlights the LRP portion of it. So this takes our accordion rolling forecast. You can also tag on the LRP years, so you have a full 5-year view if you require it for your management reporting. So now I will actually go into the demo portion of our forecast. Okay, so upon logging into OneStream, we have this page, this home page that we've set up, and this can be customized to every client. So once I've logged in, I'm going to go directly into our stream map, which has all of our processes laid out in a nice streamlined view so that everyone has visibility on kind of what steps need to be taken to complete your forecasting process. So the preparation step would have your scenario manager actualizing all of your planning data if you're in a forecast cycle. Then the next step we have laid out here is your income statement forecast, which I will go into in a second. And then here we have our capital planning and compensation planning. As Jason has mentioned earlier, we do have separate capital and compensation solutions. So both of those solutions are at a very detailed line item level that then feed up into our overall planning process. We actually have a compensation planning demo and webinar on December 14th at 11 a.m. if you want more details on the compensation planning of our solution. So I'm going to focus on the income statement portion for today. So first we'll start with our push down targets. So here on my screen, I'll make this a little bit bigger. You can see that starting from, this is our typical planning screen that we have laid out for all of our clients. It's customizable for every model and for every client. So we typically have a task drop down here. So it kind of lays out task by task, what steps need to be taken for this particular model. So my task 1 is push down targets. So I'm going to enter in some high level targets for my long range plan, just so I have a gauge of where I need to be. So for example, on this page, I have salaries and benefits. So I'm forecasting the gross salaries by 10% year over year in 2025 and so on. Same with benefits, and then my other SG&A buckets down here. Then on the right here, I actually have the breakout of these percentages by expense category. So this is kind of showing my allocation of the expenses between all of my departments. So it's a nice way to see which department grouping has the highest allocation of each type of expense. Next, I will move into our operational expense planning. Now this screen actually has our typical rolling forecast view. So again, let me start from left to right. So again, this is our task dropdown. This is our entity dropdown that basically has all of your legal entities or however you're choosing to drive the forecast. And then my departments are listed here. If I change the department, the view will update accordingly, which I will show in a little bit. Then over here, you notice here that we have our method and rate column. So the method and rates really drive back into what I was describing as our driver-based forecasting. So if I click on one of these method columns, you'll see all of the traditional methods that we have baked in into our solution out of the box. So we have zero-based budgeting, which obviously means you just start from scratch. Then we have trailing 3-month average, 6, 9, 12-month averages, which will take your trailing average dollars and then grow it by whatever percentage I lay out here. Same concept here, trailing 3-month average by head count. So that'll take my trailing 3-month head count growth and then apply that. Prior 3-month average would be your prior year's 3-month average as of a certain point in time. Same with 6, 9, 12 months. And then the same concept applies below with the average by head count. Then we have prior year quarter average. We'll take your average by quarter. Same period prior year is really your year over year growth. Then last actual period will take your last actual period and then use that as your starting point and grow that up, trend that up based on your percentage. Then we also have percentage of revenue. And then this last percentage of basically allows you to designate what else would you want to forecast your expenses by as a percent of what other account or line item. The next column is the rate. So once you pick your driver, you just add in a percentage growth or decrease if necessary, or you can leave this blank and it'll just do a flat average trending. So as you can see here, our rolling forecast view is taking these green columns means that they're read only. So these are 8 months of actuals. We have 4 months of forecast to get our 8 plus 4. So as you see here, I have my 2024 budget showing here. You're wondering where are the periods? So this is a good segue into our gear icon. So this is another BDA functionality. So we have this view user options. I can actually decide which columns I want to hide or show. As you can see here, I have my prior months and year hidden. I also have my budget year months to show only the year total. So let's say I want to see my budget period and year total. And then I'm also showing or hiding long range plan. I'll keep that one. And then if you notice, the last option here is actually a cube view cell detail pane. So it's hidden currently. I'm going to show that. So I'm going to click OK here. And let this run. So now you see that the screen has changed. So let me start with just our rolling forecast column. So now you see that I'm seeing all my budget periods as well as my budget total at the end. If you notice here, some cells are black and some are blue. So the black means that it is an input value. So I've overwritten my calculated amount to add in the $80. Then the blue means that this has been calculated based on the trending method that I chose over here. Another thing I wanted to mention, so you notice here that these cells are grayed out and they say compensation model. So this means that the dollar values here are actually coming from my compensation planning module. And then the headcount number is also coming from the compensation model. So I have visibility into this, but if I wanted to edit any of these numbers, I would have to go back into my compensation planning solution, make my changes there, and then see those changes feed into my overall expense budget. All right, so we've covered forecast trending, budget trending. I also wanted to go into LRP. So if you notice here, the LRP detail is not broken out by these individual accounts. They're more at the account grouping level. So typically long range planning will take place at a higher level. We just want to do some quick analysis on what a 5-year view looks like, but you necessarily don't have the visibility to even know what the detail behind those 5-year numbers will be. So that's why we've limited this to be a high level planning amount. This also enables you to see that these cells are white. So these are calculated based off the percentages I had entered in the previous screen, but I can always overwrite these values too if I think that benefits in 2027 will actually be 500,000, not the 484. The calculation just gives me a starting point. Now going into an actual calculated value. So let's say I decide to change my October 2023. I want to make this $200 because I know for some reason in October I will have $200. I'm promoting someone. Or we're doing a special promotion campaign. I'll save that. And then, so all of our calculations also run on save, which is why it's taking a minute to run the calc. So you see that the calc numbers are still there, but it's not overwriting my input amount. So that gives you flexibility, and you can have a pre-seeded calculation run. And then if you need to tweak numbers by period, you can do so. Another thing, I will now bring up the cell detail pane. So if I click on here, I can actually see the cell detail behind all the inputs that have been done here. So there was another user in the system who had input in $80, then deleted it, and then input it again. So it's a good visibility if you have multiple people going into the same model and some numbers are changing, you have that history visible right there. Same here, you see the $200 that I just entered. All right, so we have a few minutes left. I wanted to open up the floor for any questions, any other functionality you'd like to see here. I see a couple questions here. Are we limited to the forecast methods demonstrated? No, you are not. So these methods actually come out of the box. These are what we typically roll out at each client, but I've implemented a number of different methods at different clients based on their needs. This is just your starting point. You don't need to keep all of these. You can only keep the ones that you would actually use and then add in any other methods that you. And then can I easily compare results based on different forecast methods applied? Yeah, you can. We do have the archiving process here, which actually I will show you. We have a scenario manager tool. So that actually allows you to create different versions of your forecast pretty easily. Then our standard utilities. Here. So our typical function is to work in one scenario so that the last place you leave off for the forecast is your starting point for the next period. And when you roll it over, all of your forecasted amounts stay. So all the work is done in one working scenario. But then we use our scenario manager, this is again a BDA utility. It allows you to easily archive off versions of your plan into all of these different scenarios. So we have the 0 plus 12, 1 plus 11, 10 plus 2, 11 plus 1. I even have a client who's done weekly level forecasting, so we have weekly scenarios created for them. So they archive off their plan on a weekly basis. Okay, so those were the two questions. Does anyone have questions that are on the call? Okay, I will take that as a no. And one last thing I wanted to highlight. So this planning methodology also allows you to easily do bottoms up and top down planning, as you saw here. So we have the bottom up planning for forecast and budget, but you can also do top down planning as seen in the LRP. But say you need to do top down planning even for your forecast and budget, all of our models can be customized depending on what your needs are. So with that, I will turn it back to Jason.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Ananya. I believe there's one more slide on how to contact us. If you want to put that back up on the screen for us. Yep, there is myself and there's Christian Anders, who's our sales rep in the region. So if you'd like to start a conversation with us about anything you've seen today or any of our other offerings, feel free to reach out to either Christian or myself, and our team is more than happy to sit down with you. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. We really appreciate it and look forward to doing the next one. Thank you.
Thank you.